Anime begin as boy named Akatsuki Aosawa was born on Earth, but his story begins in another world called Alazard, where he defeated the demon king Gallius. Before dying, Gallius entrusted Akatsuki with his final wish, to take care of his daughter, Mio, and protect her with his life no matter what happens. Akatsuki accepts, and the two prepare to return to Earth. But not everyone wants them to leave. A group of maids sent by Risti and her commander Valkyria move to intercept Akatsuki in the forest before he can cross back. Akatsuki handles them with ease, disarming them in ways they clearly didn't expect, leaving them flustered and defeated one by one. Deep in the forest, Valkyria herself appears with the rest of her crew. Akatsuki defeats them all the same. Morning comes. Risti, eldest Sherfeed, princess of Sherfeed, waits for him at the edge and asks about the battle. Akatsuki walks past her without a word. He already knows she was the one who sent them. When he notices her crying, he stops and kisses her. She slaps him hard and tells him to never come back to Alazard or to her ever. She walks away without looking back. Akatsuki watches her go and says quietly that he will return. She doesn't answer. Back on Earth, Akatsuki returns home and opens a bag he had been carrying, revealing Mio, who had apparently made the journey without being fully aware of her situation. He tells her plainly that from now on she will go by the name Mio Aosawa, posing as his younger sister, and she will treat him accordingly. Mio is not entirely comfortable with the arrangement, but has little choice. The following day, Akatsuki informs Mio they will be attending JPN Babel, a school designed for magic users who have returned from other worlds. Before they can enroll, both of them are called in for a physical examination and a blood test. Mio panics, worried that the results will expose her as someone not from Earth and get her expelled before she even starts. Akatsuki tells her not to worry. The results come back clean, just as he said they would, though Mio still finds it awkward calling him her brother. Elsewhere in the school, the student council is already holding a meeting about Akatsuki. His reputation precedes him. Word is spreading that he may be the so-called true hero, someone with the potential to become the Supreme King. The council considers him a threat worth watching closely. The two are given a tour of the school and directed to the training room to pass an entrance strength test. Mio selects a sword. Akatsuki chooses nothing, preferring to fight with his hands alone. Mio goes first. When the instructor charges her head on, she uses water elemental magic to create a false barrier and brings him down cleanly. She passes. Then, just as Akatsuki is about to begin his test, the instructor steps aside and someone else takes his place. Kiya Hikami, the student council president, has decided to evaluate Akatsuki himself. He summons a pillar of ice and tells Akatsuki to shatter it. Akatsuki throws a single punch. The pillar holds, only a dent. Kiya watches for a moment, then passes him anyway, telling him that one day the two of them will face each other properly. He welcomes them both to Babel. As they walk away, Kiya glances back at his pillar and finds it shattered completely. That night, Akatsuki cooks a proper meal to celebrate passing their entrance exams. As the two sit together, a memory surfaces, Gallius in his final moments, looking Akatsuki in the eye and asking him to carry Mio forward, no matter what comes. That night, while Akatsuki sleeps, Mio sits beside him lost in thought, still carrying the weight of everything her father entrusted to Akatsuki before he died. The pain of it brings her to tears. She watches him quietly, and for a moment something darker surfaces. She raises her hand, dark flame gathering at her fingertips, and considers ending it right there. Then she stops herself. She lets the flame die out and decides, for now, to simply watch over him. The moment passes, until Akatsuki, still half asleep, reaches out and pulls her close. Mio freezes, deeply uncomfortable, and eventually solves the problem with his alarm clock. The next morning, their first day at Babel begins. The stares from other students follow them through the hallway, which Akatsuki brushes off as completely normal. Transfer students always get stared at. In Class B, they meet Chikijizumi, a classmate who has already heard about Mio's unusual magic during the entrance exam. She also pulls Akatsuki aside to warn him. He has unknowingly sat down in the seat of a problem student. Before she can explain further, the door bursts open. Kinya Onizuka storms in, furious that someone is in his seat. He winds up to hit Akatsuki, and Akatsuki sends him flying out of the classroom with a single strike, then moves to finish it. Mio steps in and stops him. He backs off. The disciplinary committee arrives shortly after, witnesses the scene, and takes Akatsuki to the student council room. While waiting, Akatsuki notices one seat set apart from the others, Kiya's reserved chair. He sits in it. When the three student council members finally arrive, they stop cold at the sight of him. Kiya walks a moments later. Akatsuki springs out of the seat immediately and moves to attack. The three members intercept him and hold him back. The misunderstanding settles. It was not Kiya who called him here for a fight, but Haruka. She makes it clear that the student council has formally marked him for the disturbance in class, and that if he causes any more trouble, the three of them will deal with him personally. On his way out, a small girl appears behind him and tells him not to go back inside. She introduces herself as Kuzuha Demoto, Class B's class representative. She fills him in on everything he needs to know about the student council. As they reach the ground floor, Haruka drops from above, landing cleanly with her wind magic. She notices immediately that Akatsuki has somehow stolen her underwear mid-conversation. She pulls out her push knives and goes after him. He dodges everything, relieves her of her bra as well, and the combination of embarrassment and fury leaves her completely undone. Later, Akatsuki, Mio, and Kazuha find themselves in the storage closet of the training room, where they stumble upon Izumi in a very private moment with another girl. The other girl bolts in embarrassment. Then the door swings shut and locks behind them. Kazuha informs the group that it will stay locked until a class representative from the next period comes to open it. They have no choice but to wait. Stuck together in the small space, Kazuha and Izumi immediately start bickering. The wait drags on. It becomes clear that Kazuha is desperately holding something in. Izumi teases her about it before quickly apologizing. Akatsuki, never one for conventional solutions, decides to help in his own way, using his energy technique on all three girls at once, making Mio and Izumi share in Kazuha's discomfort so she won't feel alone in her embarrassment. He then bites Kazuha's ear, and the situation resolves itself for all three of them simultaneously. The girls knock him out cold. When Haruka finally opens the door, they walk out and leave him on the floor. In the showers afterward, the three girls quietly come to the same conclusion. Somehow, all of this was Akatsuki's fault from the beginning. At school, during lunch, Onizuka corners a quiet black-haired student named Tanaka and bullies him out of his place in the cafeteria line. Akatsuki watches, then turns it right back around, bullying Onizuka out of the line the same way and waving Tanaka back to the front. Onizuka sees and swears he will get his revenge. While Mio and Izumi enjoy lunch together, Izumi brings up the fact that the student council has been keeping a close eye on Akatsuki. She keeps her tone light and tells Mio not to panic, just to stay grounded and remember who they both are. Meanwhile, Kazuha has been quietly pulled away to the student council room by Haruka. When she returns to class, she says nothing about what happened. Izumi notices she brought a small handmade doll that looks exactly like her school and starts to say something. But Mio speaks up first, admitting she made it. She made one for Kazuha as well and tries to give it to her. Kazuha turns it down without explanation. Akatsuki watches the exchange and quietly starts thinking. Later, Kazuha heads toward the elevator alone, dreading another day of being surrounded by people who tower over her. Akatsuki steps in just before the doors close. He brings up the student council's arrangement with her, the morning reports she has to make, and what happens if she stops. She tells him the truth. If she fails to report, they will send her to an elementary school. And no matter what, she believes she will never truly grow up. She moves to leave. He stops her and tells her he is going to help. That evening, Mio and Izumi are walking home when they spot Akatsuki heading into a manga cafe with Kazuha. The two of them follow quietly and watch as the two disappear into one of the private couple's rooms. Kazuha had tried to escape. Akatsuki brought her in anyway. In the room next door, Mio presses her ear to the wall, trying to figure out what is happening, while Izumi causes problems of her own. In the other room, Akatsuki holds Kazuha close and tells her simply to cry if she needs to, and to smile when she is ready. He tells her that no matter her height, that school is exactly where she belongs. Kazuha smiles. When they come out, Mio and Izumi are waiting, and both immediately assume the worst. Akatsuki looks genuinely confused by this. The next morning in the student council room, Haruka waits impatiently for Kazuha's report while still stewing over Akatsuki stealing her undergarments. Kiyo walks in and tells her calmly that he will personally handle anything involving Akatsuki going forward. The look he gives her makes further argument impossible. Elsewhere, someone slips into a restricted area, accesses a school computer, and quietly overwrites the parameters of a summoned creature. During PE in the gymnasium, Mio successfully summons her staff from her arms device, a bracelet-like tool that stores and releases weapons on command. The teacher walks her through dismissing it as well. Akatsuki, on the other hand, cannot activate his at all. Without magic to work with, he picks up a basic practice sword and turns to Onizuka, challenging him to a duel. Onizuka, knowing Akatsuki has no AD and no magic, accepts immediately. It is later revealed that Onizuka was the one who tampered with the cockatrice. The duel begins. Onizuka opens with fire, confident it is already over. Akatsuki walks through it unharmed and dismantles him, shatters his shield, and puts him on the ground. He takes Onizuka's AD and adds it to his own wrist. 2 devices still is not enough to release his weapon. Then the cockatrice turns on the students. One by one, they are frozen in stone. Kazuha strikes it with earth magic. Nothing. Mio raises a shield while Izumi presses forward with water attacks, the two of them covering Kazuha as the teachers pull everyone else out of the gym. Standing together in the middle of the chaos, Kazuha looks at the two of them and smiles. The three of them, fighting side by side as friends. They pour everything into their combined attack. The cockatrice barely flinches. Then it strikes back, hitting both Kazuha and Izumi, turning them to stone where they stand. Mio fights on alone until she has nothing left. She is out of options. Then Akatsuki lands beside her. He has collected enough ADs. He reaches into his device and draws Levitine, an unusual sword unlike anything the students have seen. He is back in the fight. With Levitine finally drawn, Akatsuki faces the cockatrice head-on. He deflects a wave of its stone-turning feathers, but one catches his left arm, turning it to stone mid-fight. He doesn't stop. With 7 ADs loaded onto his remaining arm, he drives forward and finishes the creature off. It explodes. The petrification breaks instantly, and everyone returns to normal. Mio rushes to Kazuha and Izumi, relieved to find them both unharmed. Akatsuki tells her not to thank him. Back in the student council room, Haruka, Minami, and Ryohei piece together what happened. Someone used a master key to tamper with the cockatrice before the exercise began. Elsewhere, Akatsuki follows a lead to the boiler room, where he finds Tanaka acting suspiciously near a door with fire behind it. He has already figured out that Onizuka was the one who tampered with the creature and that Tanaka had nothing to do with it. But something about Tanaka still doesn't sit right. Tanaka moves first, launching a kick into Akatsuki's chest before unleashing a rapid chain of magic attacks that should put anyone down. Akatsuki gets back up. He didn't feel it. Cornered, Tanaka reaches for his most powerful and most dangerous spell, one capable of leveling the entire Babel building and everyone inside it, barriers and all. Before he can release it, a block of ice locks him in place. Kiya steps out of the shadows and ends it without a word. Akatsuki heads back to the others, but not before telling Kiya that their fight is still coming. In the gymnasium, teachers tend to the wounded students. When Akatsuki returns, Mio collapses. He carries her to the infirmary. A memory surfaces, her father Gallius, in his final moments, telling Mio to forgive the man who killed him and to live alongside him, unless he one day prove himself unworthy of that trust. The next morning arrives with considerably less weight. Mio gets up, deals with a wardrobe malfunction caused entirely by her own proportions, steps into the shower, and finds Akatsuki hanging from the ceiling. She screams. Over breakfast, Akatsuki catches a news segment covering the arrival of someone at the airport, with a reporter mentioning an organization called Cocoon. The name sticks with Mio. At lunch, Kazuha shows up with the small doll Mio made for her, now in a special approved case. Izumi notices immediately. Mio, still distracted, asks about Cocoon. Kazuha explains. It stands for Children of Cross over Other Nations, the international body responsible for overseeing and educating children who return victorious from other worlds. Mio goes quiet, wondering if there is a connection between Cocoon and Akatsuki. In a meeting room somewhere, Cocoon's members discuss growing concern over rumors of a second hero, one that could make the officially recognized heroes look like imposters. The decision is made to watch Akatsuki, the so-called true hero, closely for now. Later, Mio asks Izumi and Kazuha to go shopping with her. They agree immediately, until she says the destination is to buy underwear, and Izumi and Kazuha immediately start arguing. On the school rooftop, Akatsuki is already waiting. A figure approaches, Modaharu Keidu, the man from the airport broadcast. He has heard the rumors about Akatsuki being the true hero and extends a hand in greeting. Akatsuki catches the fist hidden behind it before it connects. The two of them square off. The rooftop fight continues for only a moment longer. Keidu follows his block punch with a kick, also stopped. The two exchange a quick flurry before Akatsuki sweeps him off his feet. Keidu hits the ground and yields. He is not upset about it. If anything, he looks satisfied. He asks Akatsuki to meet him somewhere the following Monday, introduces himself properly, and mentions he's a student from Class A. That evening, Mio picks up groceries on the way home and has her first encounter with automatic doors. Her reaction gives Akatsuki something to tease her about for the rest of the walk. The next day, the four of them arrive at the mall: Akatsuki, Mio, Kazuha, and Izumi. At the clothing store, Mio quickly realizes she has no idea what size to look for. Izumi tells her the shopping assistant will handle the measurements. Mio, to everyone's mild surprise, asks Akatsuki to stay close. As the sun sets, they head home. That night, after a shower, Mio puts on the pajamas Akatsuki picked out earlier. He sees her wearing them and clearly approves. She turns on the television and lands on a crossover special featuring Akatsuki defeating a cast of girls from another show entirely. She turns it off immediately. Elsewhere, Keidu sits with a mechanist named Oya, and the topic of Akatsuki comes up. Keidu mentions, offhandedly, that he has been wanting to see him on a particular bike. A rainy day settles over the city. Inside Metro Hotel, guests have been evacuated and security stands on high alert. The hotel manager finds Kiya wandering the halls. He had slipped away to the bathroom earlier to deal with a criminal who had broken in, freezing him solid with his ice magic before anyone else knew there was a problem. Back at Babel, Haruka runs the student council meeting in Kiya's absence, laying out a plan with Minami and Ryuhei to keep the school secure while the situation outside develops. In Class B, students work through their history exams. The proctor notices Akatsuki asleep at his desk, then looks closer and realizes he finished every question correctly before going to sleep. After school, the group walks through the rain, comparing scores. Akatsuki did fine. Mio did not, and she is quietly down about it. Kazuha and Izumi remind her the ranking tournament is only days away, which lifts her mood slightly. Then Keidu steps out from behind a tree. Akatsuki stares at him blankly until the memory of their rooftop meeting comes back. Keidu says he wants to show him something and leads him to a workshop nearby. At the workshop, Keidu tracks down the owner, a man named Oya, who is buried in engine parts and has little interest in company. Keidu tries to get him to let Akatsuki test something. Oya refuses. Then Akatsuki notices a shape hidden under a sheet in the corner. Before he can get a closer look, a bolt of lightning launches him across the room. Underneath the sheet is a motorbike unlike anything he has seen. The Sleipnir, a supersonic machine with enough raw power to break the sound barrier instantly. Oya warns him bluntly that getting on it will fry him. Then he adds one more thing. The last person to ride, it was Akatsuki's father, Guki Aosawa. The name lands hard. Akatsuki's expression changes. He volunteers immediately. Haruka, feeling a disturbance from across the city, takes to the air on wind magic and arrives just in time to see Akatsuki finishing a run on the Sleipnir. She lands and starts scolding him, ordering him back to the office. Oya steps in and tells her he was the one who allowed it. Haruka moves to confiscate the bike, and the Sleipnir responds by sending a bolt of lightning through her clothes, leaving her standing there with nothing on. Her phone rings immediately. There is an emergency at Metro Hotel. Before she flies off, Akatsuki hands her his coat. She says she will return it. That night, reconnaissance confirms what is happening on the 47th floor of Metro Hotel. A terrorist group called the Scarlet Dusk has taken 50 hostages and issued a demand. Release their imprisoned allies, or the hostages die one by one. Haruka, Minami, and Ryohei move in from the rooftops, working their way down floor by floor, taking out armed men as they go. Minami uses earth magic to carve a path straight to the 47th floor. When they break through, she raises a stone barrier around the hostages while the three of them clear the room. The hostages are safe, but one terrorist survives and grabs a young girl, dragging her to the roof. He puts a gun to her head and demands the helicopter lower his men to him. Haruka gives the order to comply, buying time. The girl is crying. Then Akatsuki drops in and punches the man unconscious. The remaining two terrorists raise their weapons at Akatsuki, and the student council takes them both down. Haruka turns to scold him for the recklessness of it. He tells her simply that he cannot walk away from a girl crying, no matter her age. The girl's mother rushes in, and the two are reunited. As Akatsuki slips away, the mother turns to Haruka and thanks her for saving her daughter. Haruka accepts the thanks quietly. The crisis is over, and in the lobby below, Keidu quietly intercepts the last terrorist, who had disguised himself as a civilian and was moments away from detonating a bomb. Later that night, Haruka shows up at the Aosawa residence. Mio answers the door. Haruka hands over Akatsuki's coat, washed twice, and asks Mio to return it to him. She turns to leave. Mio calls after her and asks if she wants to stay for dinner. Haruka declines and walks away. Halfway down the path, she slows, a strange warmth rising in her face. While Mio tries on swimsuits at the beach shop with Kuzuha and Izumi, something is happening far away in a lasered. Inside a castle, a political meeting is underway. Hope Voke of the Alaclasta Empire pushes for the complete elimination of all remaining devils following Galia's death. Emperor Balam of the Distian Empire agrees, and then raises a separate concern. Galia's daughter Mio is unaccounted for. He proposes they find and capture her. Back on Earth, the beach is bright and packed. Haruka grumbles about being dragged out here during exam season, until Ryohei reminds her that she was the one who told the hotel manager's daughter that Akatsuki was the one who saved her. This trip is the mother's way of saying thank you, and Haruka accepted. Akatsuki meets up with Kazuha and Izumi and approves of their swimsuits. Then Mio steps out from behind Izumi in a nearly exposing white one. She explains she picked it with her eyes closed. Mio waves Haruka over to join them. Haruka refuses until Ryohei nudges her into it. Ryohei and Minami stay behind. At the beach house, Keidu turns up working a part-time shift. He hands them a flyer for an event happening that afternoon, a special game of tag. He wants Akatsuki in it. Akatsuki agrees, and immediately Mio, Kuzuha, Izumi, and Haruka sign up as well. With Keidu's help, the organizer selects Akatsuki as the target. The rules are simple. Contestants have 1 hour to catch him and remove his swim trunks. First one to do it wins. Akatsuki leaps to the cliffs the moment the game starts. The chase reminds him of Valkyria and her maid's back in a lasered. The first two girls track him down and move in, and find themselves without their bras, exposed before they can get close. He drops back down to the beach. More contestants close in. More bras disappear. The guys who try their luck get knocked flat. Mio watches the chaos and asks Haruka why his trunks are still on. In a lasered, Risti reveals to the council that Mio was taken through a dimensional gate, and that only someone from the other world is capable of crossing it. Balam states the obvious, that someone is Akatsuki. Back on the beach, the field has been cleared. Only 4 remain. Mio, Kuzuha, Izumi, and Haruka. Izumi pulls the group together and sends Mio and Haruka to rest while she and Kuzuha take Akatsuki on from the water's edge. As the girls close in for his trunks, he vanishes beneath the sand and resurfaces under Izumi, taking her bra on the way up. He turns to Kuzuha next and Kato stops him, explaining that if Kuzuha's swimsuit comes off, the recording gets pulled. Akatsuki moves on. Haruka retreats to the women's shower room. Minami happens to be inside washing sunscreen off. Akatsuki follows Haruka in. The other girls scatter. He gets momentarily distracted by Minami stepping out. Haruka seizes the opening and moves to strike. Then her foot finds a bar of soap on the floor. Akatsuki catches her before she hits the ground and takes her bra in the same motion. She is out. Mio is the last one, hiding underwater. Akatsuki appears behind her and reaches around her. Her swimsuit has slipped, and he covers her. Time runs out. Both of them are in the water, which is out of bounds. They are both disqualified. The contest ends in a draw. In a lasered, Emperor Balaam stands before the dimensional gate with a new figure at his side. Phil Barnett, a hero from Earth, capable of crossing between worlds. Balaam gives him his orders. Go to Earth, capture Mio, and bring her back. If Akatsuki gets in the way, kill him. Risk the objects, arguing that Akatsuki is the true hero and deserves respect. Balaam dismisses her entirely. In his view, the true hero was Leon Asapirio, the one who actually tried to defeat Gallius and died for it. Akatsuki he calls a rogue, a traitor, and a coward. Before Phil moves out, Zex Daltrake, commander of the Surefeed forces, steps forward and challenges him to a fight, wanting to measure his strength before he goes. In a lasered at the dimensional gate, Zex challenges Phil to demonstrate his strength before crossing. Phil turns and drops the guards standing behind him with a single strike. Balaam has seen enough. He reminds them that the real enemy, Akatsuki, is not here. Phil steps through the gate toward Earth. Risty watches him go, quietly worried. Back at Babel, Kato finds Akatsuki and lets him know he will be competing in the ranking tournament alongside everyone else. He also warns him that most of the male students have made him their primary target. Akatsuki is unconcerned. One hit each, and he will be in class before the day is done. Mio waves him over to where she, Kuzuha, and Izumi are standing. Kuzuha and Izumi point out that every male student in the vicinity is staring at Mio, whose uniform is doing very little to contain her. Kato pulls Akatsuki aside and tells him that only a handful of Class A students will come for him, and the student council will be participating as well, though not until the following day. Kyuya takes note of Akatsuki's team. Akatsuki challenges him to fight in the tournament. Kyuya declines. He has a Cocoon Summit to attend, but confirms he will face Akatsuki personally on the final day. Haruka adds bluntly that before Akatsuki gets anywhere near Kyuya, he will have to go through the three of them first. Akatsuki grins and tells her he is looking forward to it. As the student council turns to leave, Haruka quietly pulls Mio aside to speak with her. The tournament organizer calls everyone to attention and lays out the rules. Teams fight freely, breaks are optional, and defeating a higher-ranked opponent earns a promotion. Anyone unable to continue is out, and any cheating, under constant monitoring, counts as an automatic disqualification. Mio asks about the lifted restrictions. Kuzuha explains that when restrictions are lifted, ADs don't just produce weapons. They also shift the wearer into battle armor. Mio's armor, as it turns out, is even more exposing than her regular uniform. When Akatsuki teases her by suggesting she tell the staring boys it is because she has been watching inappropriate anime and shopping for daring swimsuits, she shrieks. The tournament begins. Kuzuha, officially Team 08's leader, leads Mio and Izumi into their first fight and wins it cleanly, leaving Akatsuki with nothing to do. Out of 39 teams, 38 remain. Akatsuki draws Levitine and dispatches a team that had been hiding underground. He senses more in the bushes. They emerge and surround the group. He handles them just as quickly. In the analysis room, proctors watch the scoreboard clear out, and the senior instructor quietly concludes that Akatsuki's power already sits at student council level. Haruka listens to the report and says nothing, but by nightfall, she has made her decision. She will fight him herself, and she will not wait until tomorrow. As the sun goes down, the tournament system goes dark, and the proctors are found unconscious. Akatsuki floats the idea of a bath. Mio's imagination immediately produces a scenario involving a hot spring with all four of them. She shuts the thought down immediately. Then Kuzuha senses something. The student council steps out of the shadows in full battle gear. Haruka issues her challenge on the spot despite having said she would wait until morning. Akatsuki accepts without hesitation and tells the girls to stand back. This one is his. Mio turns to Haruka and asks her why. Ryuhei starts to answer for her. Mio connects the dots herself, remembers the beach, and tells Akatsuki very clearly that she hopes he loses. Haruka raises a barrier so no one can interfere. Ryuhei takes a moment to explain to Akatsuki that even if they lose this fight, his team's earlier victories over higher-ranked opponents have already secured their promotions. The fight starts with Haruka alone. Akatsuki reads every move and catches her in midair, sending her to the ground. She lands cleanly. Before he can close in, Minami and Ryuhei hit him together with a combined earth and fire attack. They tell Haruka she is not doing this alone. Akatsuki takes the hit and comes out of it with a scratch on his face. The student council raises their weapons and prepares to release their full power, and then everything goes quiet. Their abilities vanish entirely. Akatsuki steps forward for the finishing blow. Keido's hand stops him. He tells them both, the system has been destroyed, the barrier around Babel is gone, and there's been an explosion exactly where Mio, Kazuha, and Izumi are standing. Akatsuki is already moving before Keido finishes the sentence. Earlier that night, before the explosion, Mio had already been feeling guilty about what she said to Akatsuki. She wanted to find him. Kazuha and Izumi insisted on going with her, telling her they already knew Akatsuki matters to her more than any exam result, and whatever else he is not a bad person. Izumi says it plainly. Mio worries about him the way she does because she loves him. Before Mio can respond, Phil Barnett steps out of the dark and finds her. Mio recognizes the symbol on his armor immediately, the Dystian Empire. Phil makes his intentions clear. He is here to take her. When Akatsuki arrives at the site of the explosion with Haruka, Minami, and Ryuhei, he finds Kazuha and Izumi on the ground. Kazuha is barely conscious. Izumi is unconscious, badly wounded from throwing herself in front of Kazuha to protect her. Kazuha tells him they never stood a chance. Phil was too strong, and Mio ran. Akatsuki uses his healing technique on both of them immediately. Then he turns to the student council and gives each of them a role. Meanwhile, Mio is still running, and Phil is closing the gap. Then Onizuka appears from nowhere and plants himself between them. He has no interest in saving Mio. He makes that clear. He simply does not like Phil. He opens with fire. It does nothing. Phil moves to end it quickly, and Onizuka lets him punch a decoy, a dummy that detonates on impact. Phil walks out of the explosion unharmed. Onizuka pushes further, flooding the area with fire mirages of himself. Phil dismantles them one by one without breaking stride and puts Onizuka down. He calls himself a hero and keeps moving. Akatsuki finds Onizuka on the ground and heals him without a word. Onizuka uses what energy he has left to warn him. Phil is not like anything they have faced before. Keido steps out from the trees. Akatsuki already knew he was following. He tells Keido to get Onizuka to the treatment facility and moves on. Behind him, Ryuhei broadcasts to the remaining tournament participants that the event is suspended due to an emergency, and quietly reminds Akatsuki that the student council has his back whether he wants it or not. Mio finds a clearing she can use and stops running. A memory surfaces, Haruka pulling her aside before the tournament to tell her about something called a Norncheck, a prophecy that came straight out of a laser. The memory fades. Mio steadies herself, still afraid, but standing her ground. Phil finds her again. He reintroduces himself properly this time, and tells her his orders. Bring her back to a laser for execution. Mio hits him with everything she has. It makes no difference. He drives a fist in her stomach and pins her against a fallen log. He tells her she is nothing, just a girl dragged to Earth by a rogue hero who had no right to bring her. Then he leans in closer. Mio remembers Akatsuki's voice telling her that only he could make her cry. She starts to cry now, not from sadness, but from something breaking open inside her. Akatsuki arrives. He takes one look at her face, and whatever calm he had carried through the night is gone. During the fight, Phil reveals that he was the one who shut down the ranking tournament and put every student who got in his way on the ground. He tells Akatsuki that he is an earthling just like him, and that Mio is a demon who has no place on this world. Akatsuki has no interest in the demon argument. He just wants to beat someone he does not like. As Phil locks swords with him, Akatsuki uses his internal energy to scratch Phil's face from close range. Phil knew about that ability and still cannot stop it. Akatsuki uses it again to deflect a magic attack, then condenses his energy into a ball and fires it directly at Phil. Phil's anti-magic shield does nothing against it. Phil goes down, then he gets back up. It comes out that Phil was also the one who destroyed Leon Asapirio's grave, the grave of the man Balam calls the true hero. Risti knew it was him, and it devastated her. Phil's path forward is simple in his mind. Capture Mio, kill Akatsuki, and crown himself a hero. Akatsuki punches him clean into the air. Phil vanishes mid-fall and reappears with Mio in his grip, using her as a shield. Akatsuki drops his sword and one of his ADs. Phil launches into a speech about becoming a hero, ruling a laser alongside the Dystian Empire, and everything he is owed. Akatsuki listens to all of it, then laughs. He tells Phil exactly what he is, a coward hiding behind words. Phil lunges and drives his blade at Akatsuki's neck. The energy running through Akatsuki's skin stops it cold. Akatsuki hits him in the face again and again and finishes the fight by driving him into the ground. Phil does not get up this time, but before Akatsuki can breathe, Mio bolts toward the edge of the cliff. He catches up to her there. She tells him she has nowhere left to go, that as long as she is alive, she will only bring destruction to both worlds. Then she jumps. Akatsuki goes in after her and pulls her out of the water. When they reach the surface, he is furious in a way she has not seen before. He tells her that killing herself accomplishes nothing, and that she is spitting on everything her father wished for her. He tells her Gallius gave her to him to protect, and that is not something he will let go of. All she has to do he says, is stay alive, and even if she cannot save anyone, he will be there. Mio tells him that something terrible is going to happen to him eventually. He tells her it won't. She tells him that is impossible. He bites her ear for not listening, and then kisses her. They turn to head back to Kazuha and Izumi. Then Akatsuki drops. Mio sees it immediately, poison on his neck from Phil's blade. She does the only thing she can think of and starts drawing it out herself. She gets him into the forest and works to remove the poison. Then Phil comes back. He is on his feet, but barely. He can hardly move. He tells Akatsuki he is impressed he survived the poison. Then, with what little he has left, Phil releases everything. His true power surfaces, and with it, his true form begins to emerge. In the Babel Health Center, Izumi comes to and the memory of the night rushes back. Phil's attack, and throwing herself in front of Kazuha to take the hit. Kazuha tells her Mio is gone, but she is certain Akatsuki is with her by now. In the trees, Akatsuki and Mio are face to face with a massive white dragon. Akatsuki recognizes it. Zahark, a creature Phil made contact with in a lasered. Akatsuki moves to fight it. Mio refuses to let him. The poison is still in him. She puts herself in front of the dragon instead, using herself as bait to buy him time to recover. Her magic does nothing. Zahark is a celestial being. It neutralizes magic entirely. The Sleipnir tears through the trees, and Akatsuki arrives. He is back. He catches Mio and draws Levitine in the same motion, blocking Zahark's opening blast. The final fight begins. He slices into the dragon's back, but the poison still in his body is weakening Levitine as he swings it. He switches to raw, physical attacks, hammering Phil again and again, but Zahark keeps regenerating. Its tail catches him twice, leaving him open. Phil fires a magic barrage. Akatsuki takes it, drives Levitine into the ground beneath Phil, and brings him crashing down. Phil survives, but Zahark is weakening from the energy bleeding out of each cut. Phil charges up his final attack, and Akatsuki raises Levitine for the finishing blow, but the sword is fading. Phil is not aiming at Akatsuki. He is aiming at Mio. Akatsuki is still standing, and so is everyone behind him. He pulled it off, shielding Mio, her unconscious friends, and the entire student council from the blast in time. The outcome is close now. He picks up Levitine. Mio watches the blade crumbling apart in his hands. The explosion destroyed his AD along with it. Without the device, the sword is useless. She tells him to stop. There's no point. Akatsuki tells her simply to keep believing in him, hopeless or not. She pulls her own AD off her wrist and hands it to him. Then Haruka pushes herself off the ground and crosses the distance between them, handing hers over as well. Akatsuki locks both on his arm. Phil moves to attack. The final exchange is brutal. Phil fires a red beam. Akatsuki pushes against it and gets hurled skyward, falling slowly. Mio watches from below, tears running down her face, refusing to look away. She keeps believing. Akatsuki uses the last of what he has from her AD, and when Phil fires once more to end it, Akatsuki cuts straight through the beam and slices Zahar clean in half. The dragon explodes. Phil fused with it completely. He does not survive it either. The fight is over. The members watch the footage of Akatsuki destroying a celestial being and debate what it means. Their stated purpose, gathering and controlling those who defy world order, has a new complication. One of them raises a future initiative called Plan Y. Kia, seated among them, tells the room that only he can handle the founder of Scarlet Dusk. Afterward, Cocoon's leader, Michael Arkwood, chairman of the United Nations, watches footage of Mio using Galia's techniques against Zahark and asks Kia why he did not step in. Kia tells him there were students and student council members too close to the fight. Across worlds, Akatsuki feels something and makes his decision. He is going back.